Hello, beautiful souls. Debbie here, and I'm so excited you're joining me for today's show. As CEO of Up Vibrations, my goal with this podcast is to motivate you by sharing insights and also taking you along as I speak to knowledgeable people that I have found inspiring for me throughout my years as an energy medicine practitioner and channeler. I cover topics that I'm passionate about, all things under my three pillars of live, love, and lead. Live encompasses our planet, the food, exercise, meditation, your soul. Love, well, that begins with self-love, and that includes energy medicine, self-reliability, personal responsibility, spirituality, self-empowerment. Lead, this is how you're showing up in the world and how you are making a difference for the better. So tune in and listen up for this exciting episode to begin. But before we do, I have to read this disclaimer. This podcast and the topics discussed stem from my own curiosity and desire to learn and should never be taken as direct medical advice. I am not a doctor, dietitian, or any other medical professional. Please always consult your trusted provider regarding your health and your wellness. So let's begin. Hello, my loyal listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the podcast. We had such a wonderful show with the last show with my guest, Bradford Tilden, with talking about frequency. There was information that the guides were coming through and said, we need another topic. The listeners are going to want more. So I'm going to be bringing you more. I've got Bradford on again today. So welcome to the show, Bradford. And we are going to be talking about the gemstone healing, because that is a part of the practice that we both use. And it's something that's becoming more mainstream as people are waking up in their consciousness and realizing that there are other tools that they can use to help enhance them around their home, around their body, to be living in this experience of lifting the vibration collectively together. So let me just quickly read Bradford's bio to you all, and then we're going to get into this juicy conversation about gemstones. All right. So Bradford Tilden is an internationally recognized composer, pianist, sound healer, crystal healer, and light worker. He's one of the leading universal white time healing teachers in the United States. He is a specialized spiritual health practitioner, helping people who feel lost, disconnected, and unfulfilled to find meaning and purpose in life through inspiration, education, and activation towards true spiritual awakening and authentic divine expression. Oh, it just gives me the chills when I read that, because it's just so authentic, having somebody that is in that type of embodiment with that type of vibration. So welcome to the show, Bradford. I'm glad to have you on again. And let's open up this conversation about gemstone healing, because sound bowls are made. There's like quartz crystal sound bowls, and there's like I keep crystals around my office. I have in my home. So let's go in and share this knowledge and talk to my listeners about gemstones and gemstone healing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, gemstones, crystals, minerals. In my classes, I remind people that I think it's first grade when you learn the kingdoms of life, and that the first kingdom of life that you learn is the mineral kingdom, that it is a kingdom of life, just like plants, just like animals. And then I tell my students, talk to your crystals, they'll talk back. And a woman came up years later after workshop. She's like, Brad, I went home and I talked to my crystals and they talked back. and it's just this, it's a consciousness, and it's a if you, psychics can dial they can dial in, and they can connect with loved ones who've transitioned, or they can connect with pets or things like that. A lot of crystals have an individualized consciousness, especially ones that that, well, I've got so many here. My favorites are Lemurian seed crystals. They are just beautiful creations of Mother Earth, Mother Earth's children. Her first and oldest and wisest children are the crystals.
I have
And
I don't have one as big as yours, but I have a Lumerian piece that's
oh,
yeah.
I run a Lemurian adoption agency if people are interested in acquiring. I've been sort of chosen as an ambassador for Lemurian seed crystals on this planet, but I digress.
No, no,
So,
that's okay because I want to. It's not digressing. So what it's doing is it's a yes and what's coming through for me because I do talk to spirits. I do get messages. So for me, what's happening is they're saying, "Oh, tell the listeners more about where Lumerian comes from. Tell them about the constellation. Tell them about connect it on our Earth, but also out there in the universe."
okay. So we're gonna go the full Kool-Aid here, huh?
Oh yeah, we are taking off, ripping off the Band-Aid.
So, um, I would like to say that I did not know I had all of this knowledge of crystals within me until I took a white time gemstone healing class, and it removed a blockage, and all it's like a program was activated inside of me.
Yes.
So that's my experience. And Lemurian seed crystals came at the tail end of that initial awakening. And the information I've channeled or from them or received from them is that they're here at this time to assist humanity in our conscious awakening. They have within them keys to unlock our true heritage as a species that predates Egypt, predates ancient Greece, predates Atlantis even. There was another civilization that existed so almost like bioluminescently on the subcontinent called Mu in the Pacific Ocean. And there's geological evidence of this subcontinent, and there's archaeological evidence of it as well. And the Hawaiian Islands are the highest peaks of this subcontinent.
I'm
The
just going to
connect
I'm going to hit the pause button for a second because I want my listeners to understand as as he's talking, what are you experiencing? I can tell you for me as an energy worker and being highly attuned, for me what happens is I get goosebumps. You're probably getting goosebumps. That is recognition. That is giving you validation to the information that he's actually uploading up into you. And so another step further is for someone like me, that's the way I'm attuned, is what happens is the gases in my body start expanding to make room for the information to shift the molecular structure that I'm holding. So that also is another confirmation. So I just wanted to share that. My guides are like, you got to educate as we're all doing this together, doing this lovely dance. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause you, and there you go.
Okay, thank you for that. So, and the connection with the universe is that life was seeded on this planet by a coalition of star races, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Lyrans, the Arcturians, the Vegans, all of these, they're part of the Galactic Federation, which is a subset of the Universal Alliance of the Light, which is centered in the center of the universe. There's lots of councils and lots of federations and things. But anyway, this was a very advanced civilization that was in tune with nature. The energies were less dense on Earth than they are now, and that has a lot of contribution to the great cosmic cycles. Just like the Earth moves around the sun, and we have our winters and our summers, we have these cosmic cycles where we go around the center of the galaxy, and light consciousness. There's times, periods, epochs of increased consciousness of universal life force, and decreased. And we're actually coming around the tail end. We've turned the bend from one of the darkest periods in the rotation. Like think midwinter when it's dark and it's cold. Well, what does midwinter in consciousness look like? Division, separation, despair, sickness, the dark ages, literally, of our documented history. So, but the Lemurian civilization lived in a golden age, and they had the ability to see into the future, just like the ancient civilizations seem to know more about astrology than we currently do.
Mhm.
Being able to create these calendars like the Mayan calendar, they knew all of this stuff because they were connected to the star races. But there was disconnect, and humanity fell and all that fun stuff that I don't want to dwell on. But the Lemurians preserved their knowledge in these crystals, and those crystals, the majority of them surfaced as recently as 1999 in a huge deposit in Brazil, which was the first major discovery of the specific Lemurian seed crystals
Which
that
would,
have
I guess that
very,
would make sense because you said that the highest peak was the Hawaiian Islands.
yes,
Oh, okay.
yep, and that yeah, so they were they were introduced to to collective consciousness in 1999 when this major deposit was discovered, and they carry with them a frequency, a resonance, and what it does is it activates the DNA inside the person, and different crystals are attracted to different people. We all have, you think, I'm English, Russian, and Italian primarily, right? I could also be Pleiadian, Syrian, and Arcturian. There's like we have this cosmic mixture of identity preserved within our quote unquote junk DNA. But when that gets activated, that's where all your true knowledge of all of your lifetimes is stored. If you remove blockages, you'll have complete recall of all of your past incarnations. It's not like it's not there, it's inaccessible. Because if we knew everything, there would be no point to life. We're on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening, and
Well,
as you awaken,
that's what this plane consciousness is all about, being here on Earth.
that's
It's
correct.
all about that discovery of, everything until you incarnate. And then once you incarnate, you've already said, oh yeah, I want that journey. I want to have that experience so that you can learn from them and evolve from them. But more importantly, it's to help the consciousness of all of us collectively because we weren't put here to do it alone.
That's correct. And we all play an important role. No one, there's no hierarchy when it comes to authentic expression. Within your own journey, you're either more or less of who you truly are, and that's where the growth comes. But it doesn't really matter in terms of spirituality. There's no better than, less than. Everyone is different and unique and celebrated for their uniqueness. That
Again, that's right, this isn't a competition.
that's
it's a
correct.
it's a collective consciousness, meaning that it's an expression of each of us individually, what our gifts are, and raising us up with those versus what our differences are and making us feel bad about it.
Yes,
Even the language around it that we as a species has put around it holds a lot of connotation with the vibration of where it's going to resonate. Sometimes, the way I just spoke the latter part of that, you just kind of felt like, oh, you're like, God, that's so heavy. It's so dense. It's because, yeah, it is. So how would somebody find out? Like, you can have your astrology done to find out where you are in the zodiac calendar, but where can somebody find out how, if they're more Lumerian or more Pleiadian, or what it is that they are?
you can a lot of there are a lot of galactic astrologers now, and I had my galactic chart read, and it was fantastic. That's an option. And the also dreams, meditative experiences, past life regressions,
Mhm.
just an intuitive knowingness. When raise your hand if you catch yourself going out in the middle of the night, going like this and looking up at the. I mean, I am completely drawn to the Orion constellation.
I'm
I
drawn.
am
Yeah,
just
I was up this morning at what, 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, just staring at Mars,
yep.
staring at it.
Yep. Yep. Or Jupiter and Venus when they're there. It's like, that there's more to you than this.
Yeah, there were four of them out there, and I even took out the video camera because I'm like, those can't be planets. I wonder if there were starships up there. I would like they're brighter. They got more color than the regular stars, and so yeah, so When you're asking yourself those questions, there's a crack in your consciousness
Mhm.
that's giving you the idea of the possibility of a world beyond what we know in this 3D world. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes you step in that wonderment. Remember when you were 5 years old, before you were indoctrinated into stop playing, stop doing that, grow up. No, we're saying get back in touch with that 5-year-old, get back into play, get back into that curiosity, get back into that wonderment.
Mhm.
And because it is amazing. And when you realize the vastness of what we have access to that we hadn't had access to. I mean, if you think about it, they've always said like we only use 10% of our brain. Well, why do we have this big 10-pound thing up here if we're only using 10% of it? Right? So when
Mhm.
this is what's happening is this consciousness that's shifting. There's brain scans that are showing that our different parts of the brain are being activated. And not only are they being activated, but they're having signals that go down into the gut. They're having signals go into other parts of the body. So guys, this is just such an amusing and a beautiful piece of equipment that we have. And if we can start looking at it that way and stop dumping on it and numbing
Mhm.
ourselves and, you know, putting so much toxicity into it, that's another thing that'll clog you up. What you're eating, lack of movement, those things clog up your energetic field. And if you can just like go for a walk once a week and then
Mhm.
maybe go the second week twice time, and you build on it. It's not something you're just going to go and do. It's something that you're retraining a pattern. A pathway's been built in your brain to do something for the habit, and what we're asking you to do and what we're explaining to you is to do life differently, to be happier, to step into your more of your consciousness. We're asking you to just sidestep a little bit and be curious. Maybe I will go walk barefoot for 10 minutes outside and see what that feels like. Besides, if you're in the Northeast and it's cold out, you're going to have cold feet. There's different things that you can do to shift this. Maybe you take an Epsom salt bath because you've never done that before. What does that feel like? We're made up of things in this earth. We all know when we have blood work done, there's iron, there's magnesium, there's all these minerals that are not only on our earth, but they're out there in space,
Mhm.
and they're part of us.
Mhm.
Bradford and I were just talking earlier about a book that I was reading, knowing more about like the moon and how the moon affects us. And, I was sharing that I didn't realize that even though I don't cycle anymore follicularly, I still am a child of the moon cycle because I'm made up of water and the moon affects our tidal waves on the planet that I'm inhabiting right now. So of course it's going to affect me. So what is the moon cycle? When is the waxing and the waning and the new and when are those moon cycles so that I can start, you know, addressing myself more toward the cycle. And then when I started doing that, it took out a lot of resistance. So like what do you know about and with the Lumerian that you're doing that, but what about the moon? Do you know what kind of knowledge do you have with the moon and the moon cycles and the rocks that are, to help us with that?
Well, it's always recommended to charge crystals under the full moon
Mhm.
and also to program crystals and put them under the full moon. It's a gentle way to cleanse crystals, especially ones that can't get wet.
Yep.
So yeah, you can definitely tap into the power of the moon to increase the power of your crystals, and that's a wonderful thing to do. And yeah, it's of course there's moonstone, which obviously it's a type of feldspar, and they certainly help regulate emotions. And the moon is affects emotions quite obviously. So you can use if you do feel that you are being uh, aversely influenced by the moon, you can hold on and carry a moonstone with you at those recognizably challenging times to help even your emotional expression. Uh, Labradorite is a wonderful stone to help balance the masculine polarity and masculine quality emotions. Moonstone itself for the more feminine quality. Then there's different types of moonstone, like blue flash moonstone, that is really good for inspiration. So if you want to be using the new moon to set intentions. You can have a blue flash moonstone with you, and that will allow your emotional truth to align with your conscious will as to what exactly you want to create for the next moon cycle. So there's lots of crystals can be used in so many different ways.
I love that. And I love crystals. And sometimes, like when I was first attracted to crystals, um, I didn't know why until took a class in it, and it wasn't until like I put the thought out there. I was like, oh, I wonder why I'm so attracted to this stone. And, wow, it just makes me feel good. Is there something to that? And the next thing you know, on my radar, I see something in the paper about a stone, like how to, want to know more about crystals, check out this website. And then it was a course, and then it was a book. And
Mhm.
it's, if you just follow the trail, the breadcrumbs,
Mhm.
it will lead you to your highest and best. And, maybe somebody that's listening to this particular podcast is kind of like, what are they talking about? Pleiadians, those are just constellations and they don't, they're not, it's because you're not ready for that yet. So that's your protection mechanism. Don't make
Mhm.
it a bad thing. Just move on. Like, okay, not ready for that yet, but
Mhm.
I'm interested in the moon tides. I'm interested in the moon stone. I'm interested in my emotions. That's something that I can wrap my brain around, and I can actually, you know, go and work with that and see, how that is affecting me. So I love this information.
Mhm.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to share with my listeners about the gemstones? Like, I know you said you do a lot with sound healing. What kind
Mhm.
of bowls do you use? Do you use specific crystals bowls, or what bowls do you use?
I'm I'm quite the traditionalist, and I use the classic frosted bowls, which are clear quartz, and I do that because quartz absorbs one of the largest bandwidths of the spectrum of frequency of life force. We have a lot of silicon dioxide within us, which is what quartz is. That's why we can feel quartz more than anything else. And quartz is primary, I don't want to say function, but its ability is to amplify energy, to amplify thought forms specifically. And so, or energy. So when I'm using the crystal bowls, the important thing, if you want to learn little tricks about playing with crystal bowls, you have to have mastery over your energetic expression. Be in your heart center, be calm, be loving, and you can project your heart-centered energy through the bowl and amplify it into the space. Uh, there's also a life hack. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a rose quartz bowl. You can put a rose quartz in a small tumbled stone in the frosted bowl, and then that will amplify and emanate that rose quartz frequency as well.
Ooh,
So, yeah, this is my personal preference. I like the raspiness of the sound of the frosted bowl because it creates a little more thickness to the sound frequency that I have more potential to work with when I align my voice with it microtonally. If you have no idea what I just said, that's okay. But it's um I do want to talk just briefly. This isn't a workshop, right? This is
right.
a sort of a chat and interview, but wave dynamics. You want to understand how to use sound or use crystals. You have to understand wave dynamics, amplification, diminution, phase cancellation, phasing, all that stuff. It's how frequencies interact, and we are energetic vibrating beings of multiple different frequencies. Our liver has a frequency, our lungs have a frequency, our heart chakra has a frequency, my index finger has a frequency. And there's this composite frequency. and and when you and crystals and gemstones, they have their specific quality is they each different, every type of crystal and gemstone has a very specific constant frequency. It's like hitting the a key on the keyboard, boing, right? This is a, maybe this is a, lapis lazuli, and then here's an amethyst. They have different frequencies that they're not equated with sound. That was just an example. And so when you
No,
surround
but
yourself
that
with
would be a cool experiment for somebody to do, to like
Yep.
try, like do some kind of sounding equipment to pick up the frequency so we could hear the
I think
frequency of the stone.
I think they've done that somewhere, spectrum analysis or something, and then
Okay.
converted it. You can listen to plants. You know, they have MIDI generated songs of plants. So yeah, but anyway, when you have a crystal in your environment, your physical energetic environment, you have a constantly emitting a frequency, and so it's having an effect on you. And that's how you choose to work with them. I'm going to carry this stone with me today. I'm going to the mall. I better wear some smoky quartz to filter out other people's crap, right? The different stones have different abilities based on the frequency that they express, and how that interacts with you. And that's really the fundamental scientific approach to gemstone healing. And that's what the universal white time gemstone healing approach is, that the higher beings, the extraterrestrials, they have this knowledge. You know, it's funny, extraterrestrial, most of them are humanoid. It's like your cousins, you know, your relatives over in, you know, my relatives over in Italy, you know, my relatives up there on Alpha Centauri. It's just like they're not really that different from us, most of
Right.
them. We
Right.
have to start considering them as part of our galactic family, because we are entering into that level of awareness.
Yes, we are. I mean, people talk about, UFOs and things like that. And, different institutions didn't want us to know certain things. They kind of like, sheltered us. They thought it for our own, for our own good. We should know these things, but you're not going crazy when you see,
Yeah.
something in the sky you can't identify. It is a UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. Yes, it is. So, why not? We
Yeah.
can't be, I've always said since I was a young girl, we can't be the most intelligent life form in the universe. We still kill each other. Our children are still hungry. We still hurt each other. Like, it's nonsense. It's time to shift it. And I think what's happening is a lot of the systems that we all are complacent in and get comfortable in, the banking system, the education system, the medical system, all of that is starting to break down
Mhm.
because that frequency is no longer serving us as a population, as a collective. And so that something new is coming. And we don't know what that newness is, but we've all been conditioned to
Mhm.
fear what we don't know. And we're giving you permission to don't fear it, but stay in the vibration of wonderment. What is coming?
Mhm.
This is so exciting. What are we going to allow in as a consciousness, as a collective?
Mhm.
Because it is better. There is enough for everybody. There is happiness. There is contentment. There is joy. We all know the frequency that we're coming out of, the 3D world, that money doesn't buy you happiness. Money's a frequency. It's
Mhm.
something that one day somebody decided, a group of people decided that that was going to carry some clout.
Mhm.
It really has. If we stop giving it the clout that it's holding, then we'll get back to a system of equality where your gifts will be what you'll trade in order to get what you need in order to be sustainable. It's really simple.
It is.
We just overcomplicate it. But again, that's a whole nother topic that the listeners are going to have to listen to, because some of them are just kind of going, wow, I think she's going off on, off now, that on a little wacko. So it's okay. You can think that that's your protection mechanism. I'm just going to invite you to breathe, taking a nice big inhale
Mhm.
in through your nose and
Mhm.
then exhale through your mouth. Just calm down your parasympathetic, your systems. Your nervous system wants to protect you, that fight or flight. When you hear something that doesn't resonate, you don't understand it, so you're fearful of it because that's what you've been conditioned. I'm just giving you permission to just, let's rewire that. Instead of getting all bent up and tight about it, relax your shoulders, take in a breath, open up your heart, and just allow yourself to be in exploration about what is that they're talking about. Because the more that you learn, the more that you up level, the more that you expand, the happier you're going to be, the less resistance there'll be. And you'll find that, wow, it really is easier than all the obstacles that I was putting and the resistance I was putting on my path. That's just because that's what we've been taught. And we're just saying, a couple of us out here, the lone nuts, are now communicating that you weren't taught that way. You were taught that way, but you retrained yourself, and oh, I was taught that way and I retrained myself. So guess what? If we can do it, anybody can do it. It's not just for a few chosen. It's just we've spent the time doing it. We've put in the heart work to do it. That's the only difference.
Mhm.
So, but I love gemstones. I have them, crystals, whatever you want to call them, and I have them in many forms. I have them like this. I have them in clusters. Let's see the cluster. And I love them. And sometimes I'm more attracted to them in one form or another. I was just out, one of my favorite places in the world. And I think no, I take that back. My guides are like, no, you don't think, you know, we've already told you this. I'm like, all right, all right. I know I'm going to be doing a retreat out in Ojo Caliente, out in New Mexico. It's north of Santa Fe. They have a mica mine out there. My husband went on a hike because he didn't want to sit in the salt pools for as long as I wanted to. He's got a different frequency. So he went and he came back and he brought me like this mica, and then he brought me this white quartz that he found up there on the top of the mountain on his hike.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, like, those are the gifts that light me up.
Yeah.
Like, he brought those back, even though he couldn't sit in the hot tubs for
Mm.
as long as we were sitting in the hot tubs. He went and took care of himself by going for a hike and came back and brought me these gifts. He gets me. Like, he's not trying to change me. He gets me. And that's what being in relationship is all about, whether it's a platonic relationship or it's a romantic relationship. It's about somebody that doesn't want to change you. It's about somebody that sees you for your quirkiness and your differences, and they just want you to be you, because together you're creating something different. There's a different energetic vessel that's being created when you're together, that it's beautiful. And sometimes when it's in resistance, it's not so beautiful. And so you just go your separate ways. It doesn't mean that things didn't work. It just means you gave it a try. You have new knowledge. Oh, it's not working. So we need to go our separate ways. Like, as a society, we've gotten into this division or making it wrong. And I'm hearing from you that you're just kind of, you know, reiterating for me that there is no wrong in doing this. It's all, you're learning. You make a decision, you go down a path, you decide, guess what? I need to make another decision. It's not, I went down the wrong path. It's, I need to make another decision. And I love that. So gemstones can help you with that, with your emotions or with your psychic abilities, whatever it is that you want to work on. There are gemstones that will help you with what you're searching for. We all know, I know that you probably have heard of people that use gemstones to, like, to attract their life partner or to attract like their
Absolutely.
favorite, the job that they want.
Yep.
And they carry a vibration. They're a part of us. They are literally a part of us. We have it in our bodies. And I love that you had said that earlier. So again, another fantastic episode. And it
Mhm.
sounds like we'll probably be doing more episodes because there's more consciousness that's going to be involved, because I think our listeners are just going to be wanting more. So if you've enjoyed this podcast in some of the content, please give us a thumbs up on whichever provider that you're listening to it on. And also leave us a review, share this with your friends and family. Let's switch up the algorithm by doing these small little steps. We would greatly thank you. And Brad, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we close the show today?
Oh, um, there's just so much to share. And uh, yeah, just be be conscious of your crystals and treat them like living beings, I think is the most important thing. Respect them, bathe them. You don't necessarily need to feed them, but give them some moonlight, give them some sunlight. And if you are interested to learn more, please reach out to me. White Time Gemstone Healing is unlike any other crystal education on the planet. You can't learn this stuff from a book, and it will revolutionize your reality. In short, it certainly did mine. And Yeah. So, and I have a retreat coming up for the level 1 class in North Carolina at a lakeside mansion in January. That is available on my website, crystalmusichealing.com, and reach out to me. I do travel literally anywhere in the world to teach these classes.
Wonderful. Well, I will be putting your contact information in the show notes.
Thank you.
So again, thank you for coming on and being a guest again. This was fantastic. My guides are really happy with the way that all of this transpired. And so with that, I just want to say thank you to the listeners for tuning in today, and have a wonderful holiday with whatever you celebrate. So with that, I'm going to close out the show, and until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you loved this episode and all things related to raising your vibration and living your best life, you can connect with me online at debbiesodegren.com. Check out my YouTube channel, Debbie Sodegren, and follow me on Instagram at Debbie Sodegren, Facebook page of Up Vibrations with Debbie Sodegren. I invite you to join me inside my Live, Love, Lead community. The link is on my website. You can always send me your questions or comments, or just say hello on social media. And remember, a shift in perception is sometimes all it takes to up your vibration. Until next time.